You gotta have a little bit of Michael, right? Human nature. Oh, I love this man. I miss him so much. But he's left his music with us forever and ever. Human nature. Well, I said to you, I've got a surprise for you. You're chilling with me, Jay, till about 3 a.m. Let me tell you a little bit about this amazing, phenomenal woman that's in studio with me today. She's got 14 years of experience in print media journalism and a decade of workshop facilitation experience as well. Now, her name is Sheetal, and I'm going to give you a full name just now. But Sheetal is currently studying a master's in journalism, and she's a part-time journalism lecturer at the Durban University of Technology. She's also a columnist for the Sunday Tribune, and she presents a program called Tops on DSTV's Trace Sports Stars International. Ah, quite an all-rounder. I've got to tell you, when women know sports, it's very impressive. Cross also recently established 100% BEE, 135% procurement recognized women-owned media company called Titanium Media South Africa, TMSA. You don't want to forget that name. Titanium Media South Africa. And that's to facilitate black economic media empowerment programs to businesses. So that's what we're going to be talking today. We're going to be talking about everything media, print media, and if you're a small business, a big business owner, if you're just an individual that's interested in knowing about these things, then you better stay tuned, because we've got some interesting facts for you to learn, and also some things about social media that you really need to know. You and I both need to know. So good morning, Sheetal. Welcome to East Coast Radio.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, thank you. So that's Sheetal Cross, and she's going to be with us. Now, Sheetal, we're going to start off with, in recent times, right? Last week, I noticed in some of the social networks out there, well, I saw it on social media news, about fake news. Right, and then there was this guy that was caught out in UNISA for having several profiles, and all of it fake news. It started off with Mzansi stories on Twitter. It went on to various other, and it was him and his sister that were both involved in this. Now, tell me, what is fake news, and what can you tell us about how to combat fake news?
This is such a brilliant question. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to the audience today. I think to understand fake news, you have to understand what real news is.
Just give me a second, Sheetal. I think your mic is not too loud there. There we go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
There we go. Good morning, Sheetal, again. Now we all can hear you.
Good morning, Jay. And to all the listeners out there, thank you so much for being with us today. To answer the question, what is fake news? Well, I think just to put things into perspective, or to give background, the act of journalism is basically providing researched information that is truthful, factual, scientifically proven, that's accurate. And the aim of journalism, therefore, is to inform the public so that they can make informed decisions. And if that's, about government to the public, or about public to government, and vice versa. And sort of that allows people to understand what's going on around in their environment, in society, in their country, and then make decisions based on that. Now, fake news, unfortunately, is the opposite of this concept. What it is it's untruthful and often propagated with malicious intent. When it's not satirical in nature for entertainment purposes, because we've all seen these comedy shows and, and people using fake news just to entertain, and then it's understood this is a, comedy. But when fake news is propagated in a way like you were talking about the Mzansi stories, which was a Twitter account, I think it's William Mhlatse Ramatseba, if I'm not mistaken. When it's that, basically the understanding is it's somebody with a malicious intent to misinform or to interrupt the flow of correct information or correct news. It's to propagate, the person or the organization has their own agenda, and they're trying to attract attention. And sometimes that attention can have monetary value in a digital space. It's what we call clickbait. People put up stories on a website, and you're intrigued by it, and you click it, and it's sometimes the photo has nothing to do with the story, or the story has nothing to do with the photo that you've clicked on. And then it just leads you down this continuous digital path where you're clicking several sites. And as you know, certain sites, if they get enough attention, there's always a monetary...
And these people intentionally do this, and they know how to catch you out where you see a headline and you immediately go and click and you want to share.
Yes.
And that's what we must be careful of. Don't go clicking and sharing when you're not sure about such news. Now, we're going to come back and we're going to have lots to talk about with Sheetal Cross. And if there's any questions you'd like to ask with regard to print media, with regard to social media as well, you can WhatsApp us on 061 792 9495. Send us your questions and I'll put it across to Sheetal and we all can learn together then. Also, we're going to talk more about brand empowerment, media empowerment, because that's everything that you're involved in.
Absolutely.
Right, Sheetal?
Thank you.
So, great stuff coming up. Stay tuned. Nelly Furtado would say it right, and we've been chatting with Sheetal Crosses in studio right now, and she's got 14 years experience in print media journalism and a decade of workshop facilitation experience as well. Now, Sheetal is currently studying a master's in journalism, and she's also a part-time journalism lecturer at DUT. And what we've been talking about is what is fake news, and Sheetal gave us an insight into that. And Sheetal, I think what we need to touch on is what can you tell us about how to combat fake news?
Well, again, thank you very much for having me, Jayshree, as well as thank you to the listeners for tuning in. I always say to people, the only way to inoculate yourself against fake news is to understand mainstream media and sort of just be in the know of what mainstream media is putting out there. Because, as I explained earlier, mainstream media do verified information. It has to be fact-checked. There's ethics and guidelines that's followed before information is put out into the public sphere. So I think one of the biggest ways is to follow sources or credible sources like your big name brands of mainstream media, and then you'll be able to make a comparison between what you're seeing in terms of fake news, and you'll be well aware, hey, that person's not dead, I've just seen actual news.
Like, for example, let's say we're in Durban, right? If you listen to East Coast Radio News, you haven't heard anything about it, then you know, okay, what's happening. Or if you put on CNN, then if you want to, if it's even bigger than that, bigger than local, if it's international or national or something that, then you go and tune into your telly or that's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes it's a matter of breaking news where somebody breaks the news and there's nothing out there just yet. But I'd say just give it an hour and immediately you know. And then check your Twitter feeds and check various sources. You can Google it. You can, check the social media sites. Although I wouldn't go straight to social media for information because as you know, the 2016 American election was hacked by the Russians, as confirmed by CNN in a statement by the FBI confirming, hey, that did happen, and the agenda there was to affect voters or influence voters. So, social media is becoming, or has become, a very volatile playground in terms of the way people are using it, and you just need to be very careful, especially when you get like friendship invites and things like that, to check the profiles. There's little red flags that come up. We can talk a little bit about that if you want to know more. But, like I said, to inoculate yourself, you really need to be in the know of actual news, and then you'd be able to decipher.
Definitely. I think in recent times, fake news spreads like wildfire on social media.
Absolutely.
In a matter of minutes, it gets shared and it's already reached thousands and thousands of people. And it just continues like that, which is why we need to be very careful of it. Now, I did notice that you're in a joint venture with Olivia Jones Communications. Tell us about that.
Well, thank you so much. I think people often underestimate the power of mainstream media and what it can do for branding, for businesses, but apart from being keeping people informed of news, and what's going on in the environment. And the reason we came up with this joint venture was I felt that there was a need to empower businesses, entrepreneurs, also, organizations that really need to be in the mainstream media with newsworthy content. They're doing big drives and a lot of stories that would otherwise just be missed. And I think the idea was for us to put together a program that sort of informs people. A lot of the time people don't have the marketing budget to hire a PR agent, and then Olivia talks to the PR side, writing press releases, how to market your business. And then I talk to the journalism side, because people don't know that they're generally not sure what is exactly journalism or how to deal with the journalist, either in an interview or they've got a newsworthy story. How do they communicate that digitally or otherwise? And then we do a day seminar where we talk to both those points, and we actually show people on like a very minimal or zero budget, you can get mainstream media attention. And our seminar is actually called Media Attention, How to Get It and Maintain It. Yeah.
Now that's wonderful that you work on a small budget and a zero budget. So did you all hear that? Tell us more about brand management that you're doing.
I've recently been given the honor of brand managing Julian Moon. She's an American-born singer-songwriter, and a lot of her songs have gotten over 1 million downloads on Spotify, and she's got a lot of traction on iTunes and YouTube as well. She was only 23 when she landed a record deal with it was the Warner Brothers in the United States.
Wow.
And she did an album called Good Girl, and I swear, if there's anything I leave you with tonight, go out there. Apart from being, apart from being more aware of fake news, be aware of Julian Moon's album. What a fantastic...
Definitely, we'll go and have a look at that. Well, somebody sent us a WhatsApp with no name, but are they touching on the words such as, and this happens to be a journalist, but doesn't, I suppose, intentionally not giving their name, but says, sometimes we use words and in inverted commas, allegedly, apparently, and this is like a code. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, so what I was saying earlier was mainstream media are guided by ethics and legislation and constitutional laws and actual legal parameters, which prevents us from naming and shaming or the one biggest law is defamation of character.
Yes.
And what happens with the words allegedly, apparently, and, that allude to, hey, this is possibly happening because of, as opposed to he did it, she did it, before the person has gone to trial or had a fair trial. So I think that what that listener might be alluding to is how does that play or factor in with fake news? Fake news, it's not even a matter of allegedly. It's like malicious intent to either defame someone or bring down an organization or create an entire lie around something to give it substance so that people click on it because they want to know more.
Yes.
And when things are sensationalized but aren't factual, it's easier to make up 5 or 10 sensationalized stories than it is to go and find a breaking news story that would attract that amount of online attention. So I think you just really need to be very aware about clickbait, like I mentioned earlier. Be aware that, sometimes they use celebrity factor in photos and things like that where, click on this and we'll tell you who's died, and or silly little things like, did you know, the other day I saw something about, did you know these actors or actors are the worst in industry, the rudest, the this or that, and I clicked. I didn't click because I'm silly to get caught with clickbait. I clicked because I like to keep in the know of the strategies that clickbait uses.
Okay.
And just to read what exactly, and to just end on that, answering that question, you will actually see that the photo and the body or content doesn't match.
Yeah. I get you. The story goes
and that's a red
differently
flag,
after
right?
that.
Yeah, it's a red flag.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, we're going to tell you about a seminar that Sheetal's going to be hosting, and with more info that she's going to help you with mainstream media, how to get a hold of her, all of that coming up soon. Be the One. I hope you love this song. I thought we'll have more time with Sheetal before it's top of the hour, and then it's 25 minutes of non-stop music. And Sheetal has been giving us a good insight into fake news, which is something that, we all need to be wary of. And we're all on social media. We are addicted to Facebook. We never stop going on it. So, those are one of the platforms as well that encourages us to click.
Absolutely, yes.
And when we click...
And share.
and we share. We end up sharing that news because we think we're helping everybody else to know.
Yeah.
And in fact, what we're doing is causing more damage, causing more tension, and spreading a news that is not real. And that's really not good. And that's something that we're all going to be learning about. Sheetal, I got a WhatsApp message here very quickly that I'm going to play. And it's a voice note. It's come from somebody by the name of Akash. Let's hear what he has to say, right? He's got a question for you.
Hi Sheetal, we're actually speaking to Akash from Phoenix. Nice to hear you on the radio. My question for you is, what are the main topics that normally come around fake news, and what impact has it had on South Africa? Again, nice to hear you on the radio.
Wow, thank you so much, Akash. Okay, so I'm not sure if we have enough time to unpack this
as quickly as you can, but I get it's a amazing question,
Yeah.
Akash, because I think it's very relevant.
Absolutely. So, coming back to what Jayshree said earlier, when you look at Mzansi's stories on Twitter, he had quite a large extent of different stories that would appeal to different people. But the long-term effect of fake news, such as what Mzansi's story was doing, is I believe they were using actual corporate advertising from people without their knowledge. So it made them appear as if they're an actual news site. And unfortunately, what this does is if you're pretending to be a mainstream media news site, people are more likely to click, to share, to buy in. And that actually, it destabilizes or can contribute to the destabilization of mainstream media, where people are now believing the fake news over the mainstream because they get confused. They don't know what's the truth. And I think if fake news is political in nature, that can also have a long-term effect on the political atmosphere within a country. Like I said, journalism, just to wrap up quickly, journalism is to inform, the point of journalism is to provide research information that informs public or people in societies to make informed decisions. And if you are not getting the correct information, you're going to vote for the wrong person, you're going to make decisions that actually can have a long-term harmful effect on your family, your community, society, etc.
Definitely, and I think you're going to be angry at the wrong people too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sheetal, you are hosting a seminar which is going to give us more insight. So if you're interested in going to Sheetal's seminar, she's going to give us all the details right now.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So on the 29th of January, that's coming up not too long from now.
2019. We're
Yeah,
not far from there.
2019, it's next year. But really, it's just 2 months away. Basically, what we're doing is we're going to be at the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It's at the Line Match Factory from 8 until 4. And we're going to be offering people the opportunity to come through and learn about mainstream media and how to really get into mainstream media for your businesses or as an entrepreneur. And like I said, Olivia's going to talk to the PR part of representing yourself in a media space, and I'm going to be talking to the journalism side. But over and above that, it's not just media or academics. It's also talking about language and communication skills, how to be an effective communicator. And the last one that we did was absolutely powerful, impactful. People loved it. And they said it made a world of difference to the way in which they communicate with journalists, the way in which they present themselves in the public sphere, and just the way in which they're more clearer about the message that they're putting out regarding their brand. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Tell us, how else can we get in contact with you? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Do you have a website?
Yes, I do. So you can go to the company website, Titanium Media SA. It's all one word, Titanium Media SA. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, social media accounts like Facebook. Or you can email me directly on info@sheetalcross.com. It's SHEETAL, cross is CROSS.com. So info@sheetalcross.com. And I'm going to be naughty and give out my number, if that's okay.
If you are okay with that.
I am, but I must warn you, I'm a very strict person. So if you phone me for anything other than... And I'm married, so no, don't ask me out on a date. So it's 072 030 7659. That's 072 030 7659. You're welcome to WhatsApp or email me, and I'll send you more information.
Yeah, and that's a business line. So
yeah.
Thank you for being with us today. It's 25 minutes of non-stop music coming up, but before we even get into that, I'm going to tell you that we're going to bring Sheetal again sometime soon. Sheetal,
Thank you so much.
Because there's so much to talk about. We've opened this with fake news, but there's so much else that you can teach us when it comes to brand management and social media. And these are things that we need to learn going forward. I think each and every one of us needs some education about how to present ourselves,
Absolutely.
communication skills, in just about any field.
Absolutely. And I thank you so much for having me and the opportunity to speak to your listeners today. And I hope, I really, really hope that you've learned something that will help you going forward in terms of the way you receive your news and use it to make it decisions.
I've definitely learned something, and I'm sure those that are listening have as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, 25 minutes of non-stop music.